So one of the big things that I'm looking for in this joint practice, and I kind of keep my eye on him, is our guy. He's not our guy at all. We know who cares. Is Tavon or Kayvon Thibodeau? Kayvon Thibodeau. Remember, it was like, do we take him or Hutch? That was the big question.
I think it was
And
just him because we didn't think Hutch was going to fall. And then all of a sudden, like 3 days before the draft, it's like, they're not going to take Hutch. The Jags aren't
yeah.
going to take Hutch.
And so
Okay.
you're like, what's up with this? So there's highlights
Yeah.
out there of Kayvon Thibodeau going against Taylor Decker. And so Taylor Decker, we would
Nice.
all say, is our second best tackle
Yep.
on the team. So like, all right, let's see. And from what I could tell, Taylor Decker was just stonewalling Kayvon Thibodeau. So that tells me two really
Stonewall.
positive. Well, let me ask you, when you hear that, are you more like, let's go Taylor Decker? Everyone's like sleeping on him, or are you like, man, Thibodeau ain't all that? Where do you go when you hear that news?
Can I cop out?
Oh boy, say both.
Wait, I do both. But I think I think Thibodeau is good. I don't have any problems with him, but I know his motor isn't always consistent.
Yep.
So I don't know what his motor was in practice. When I hear that Taylor Decker locked up a top, even if Thibodeau, if you think he's a top 10 edge, I don't think he is. I think he's a top 20 edge. Like that doesn't surprise me because I think Taylor Decker is a top 10, top 15 tackle.
Yeah, yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me that he does it. But when I hear he's doing it, does that make me happy? Absolutely. That means that he's still hungry. He just got that big contract extension. Taylor Decker is here to win a Super Bowl. He
Mm-hmm.
thinks that this is his best place to win a Super Bowl, which is crazy to think with the Lions. And even all that Taylor Decker has been through with this organization and the ups and the downs and the downs and the downs. I love Taylor Decker being like, nope, I'm going to hold down this left tackle. But do you remember 2 years ago? I think it was it 2 years ago? Was it 3 years ago? We were in like week 16 of the season and Taylor Decker had not given up a sack.
Right. I remember something weird like that. Yep.
This is who he is. He does not give up sacks. When he is fully healthy, Taylor Decker, he is an elite pass blocker. And that's why he's still on the left side.
And yeah, no, when I hear that, I love the Taylor Decker because he does. He is a very good left tackle, franchise left tackle that everybody's looking for
Yep.
that we've had. And now he got overshadowed by just the Lions' problems there from, when he was just kind of getting into his prime. Then it's the Matt Patricia stuff, and it just never really. It was just a whole mess. So you never gave him the credit due. And then it did feel like he had a little bit of an injury thing there for a couple years where it's like
Yep.
he just was not consistently on the field.
Back,
Then you
ankle.
get Penei Sewell. It's like, all right, Penei Sewell's actually going to be the left tackles because you suck. And it's like, no, he is unbelievable. And Penei
Yeah.
Sewell, who is probably, I mean, you could argue there's Trent
Say it.
Williams and then him, like
Yeah.
the best tackle in the NFL, and he's on the right side because it's like we have it set. So when we talked about the best offensive lines, we have got, I mean, the best tackle combo in the NFL and the best center. So it's like, okay, like this, but he is the big piece that we don't talk about enough. And so Taylor Decker going against a young buck, rising star defensive end and being able to just stonewall him.
Does it ever feel like when you talk about the Lions offensive line, we say we have the best offensive line in football, and why do we say it? Because we have 3 elite players at the 2 most important positions. You have the 2 tackles and the center.
Yep.
And you're like, yep. And then we fill them in with good guards, veteran guards. And so I think we always ask ourselves, do you ever think to yourself in the back of your head, like, but is Taylor Decker elite? Like,
Right.
is he? But when you look at his career, he absolutely is elite. And that's playing for multiple coaches. That's playing in multiple schemes. And, you were talking about some injury stuff that was happening to him and all of that kind of stuff. To me, all I see is a guy who's consistently been a great pass blocker his entire career and a good run blocker.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You like PFF, right?
Yep.
Yep. So some people watching don't. Can I just throw some numbers at you real quick?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let me do it. So PFF, he's been playing since 2016. Here's his pass blocking grades on PFF. 82, 73, 80, 76, 85, 84, 76, 80. Like, he's just a good pass blocker. That's what he is.
He
Great. And I do like PFF for offensive linemen. And Chris, you say this all the time. You say it all the time. Like, yeah, I can watch David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. I can watch Goff really easily. I see what St. Brown's doing. How often when the offense snaps the ball, you're like, Taylor Decker, where you at? What are you doing?
Right.
Like, what are you doing? We only notice Taylor Decker when he messes up, but I haven't been thinking about Taylor Decker very often.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's
absolutely. And so speaking of that, here's a couple of our. So this is Colton Pouncey, who's on the Lions beat, and then Dan Dugan is on the Giants. And I thought this was interesting. This is the most physical practice I've ever seen. Said both of them. And
yeah.
So again, this goes to our offensive line and hardening. And Dan Campbell talked about this is putting a load on their bodies. And so the offensive line, especially though, to be ready for the season, because remember, we play Sunday night against the Rams. Like, talk about just, that's a good team, and it's week 1, and it's like, all right, here we go. There's no 1:00 game against the Jaguars. I don't know. It's just like we got to get ready as where I'm going with this. And so to see that and to see the offensive line, I mean, where were you at before Dan Campbell? Were you like, hey, rest guys and let's just stay healthy and let's work on mental? Were you more on that side, or was like, man, let's physical in practice? Where were you usually?
Yeah, I was. I think you need to be physical. I really do. And I think you need to start physical. I think you need to ramp it down. I think you need to slowly ramp it down the last couple weeks of training camp, and then to get the bodies healthy for the regular season. I know this sounds really weird. I was always on the more physical side, because if your body's not used to being physical, it's going to get hurt. Mm-hmm. And I think we've seen that because a number of players who have contract holdouts, they're not playing in the preseason. They're not participating in practices. What happens? Soft tissue injuries. At the beginning of all training camps, what happens? Soft tissue injuries. And so if you are having a physical nature to the practice, when you then hit the regular season, your body is ready for it, because at least in training camp, you can set your schedule in a way where your body has time to recover. And so I've always been be more physical, especially early on, get the body ready for it, get it hardened. And that way, when you're running into the regular season, your body's ready to go.
Yeah. And it makes sense. And now that you say it out loud, it's like, you can get physical in a controlled way. So it's actually the best time to do it. Why wouldn't you? Versus like, all right, go out there and good luck week 1. It's like, because you can't help it. You're not gonna. We're here. It's like, all right, it's training camp. We're gonna be. All right. Let me ask you this. We did a video on this. Be looking for it, but just in the last couple minutes here,
it is.
This
coming.
is a big deal. So if you haven't heard, he's sick. Don't really know what that means, but
not even a clue.
But offensive line, we know, is so important, and so to have our rookie interior offensive lineman not be out there is big, man. What are you less concerned, just as concerned as when we talked about this the other day?
I don't know. I'd be less concerned if I didn't hear that Zeitler left practice today with a shoulder injury. And so, and that's the point, right? Like, you are going to have injuries to your offensive line. No team, unless you're the Philadelphia Eagles, who never get hurt ever,
right?
Will run out the same starting 5 offensive linemen every single game. You need to have backups. And Mahogany was one of these guys that I think we were excited, and he was going to be hopefully ready. And now he just won't be. Like, if he can't get there, and who knows what he has? Like, what keeps you up for weeks? Mono?
I don't know.
What does he have? Like, whatever he has, I guarantee he's not going to be coming back like in peak physical condition.
Right.
So it's going to take him a couple weeks to ramp up, get back in shape. And then all while trying to learn the offense. It's a lot for a 6th round pick. It's a lot for a rookie. And now people are even talking that he's not even going to make the team because he's not here. Like, because you got Manu, who needs to make the team, right? Like, he needs to make the team, but he's not ready.
No, and
you can't do 2 offensive linemen that make the team that aren't ready. You can't do it.
You make a great point that I don't think we think about enough. There's some ways around it. Kinda. You can put guys on IR. There's like weird stuff, but at the end of the day, it's not that hard. It's like this isn't a farm system. If you release a guy, he's free to go wherever. If he's on your practice squad, someone else can pick him up. Now the rule is if you take someone from a practice squad, they have to go on the active roster. But still, it's like I'll just put him on the practice squad. We took a 4th round pick on this Manu guy, and it's like we can't just sit on him and just be like, hey, just hang out, man. We'll get you in. It's like no, another team can come grab him and put him
3
on.
days of your life.
Yeah, so same with this guy. You could just hold them just to have them, but man, there's not enough room on the roster to just have 2 rookies that you're like, man, I hope we can get them. So again, I think there's some things you can do. There's IR designations. You can keep them around and get creative with it. But man, it's not that easy either. It's like,
yeah, okay. So let's say he's not feeling better, and eventually you just put him on the 4-week IR to start the season, right? Well, that takes care of the roster spot because you don't need to spend a roster spot on him anymore. But he also can't practice for that 4 weeks. And so that means at some point he's coming back and he's going to need to take a roster spot. The math doesn't really add up.
No. So it's going to be,
it's going to be tricky. So like, even if you keep 9 linemen, which is a lot, right? 10, right? So if you keep 9 linemen, who are your 2 extra? Sorsdahl and like, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying that bad. I think he'll be fine this year, right? I think he's going to be a competent backup this year, and I think next year he might even be ready to be starting at some point. But I think it's possible, or at least be a really good quality backup. And then Iwasika, I don't know. Like, are you comfortable going into the regular season with only 7 offensive linemen that are competent?
Dude, I know. I always just assume injuries are going to happen. And like I said, I get yelled at, and it's like, but they are, especially on the offensive line. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. So I don't know. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We talked about a lot just now, but it's just fun to talk about, fun to see that the Lions play so hard. And is that a picture with you and Darius Slay out on the street?
Yeah, that's definitely not me.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I'm sure it's whoever this Lions Super Bowl 2024 is. Like, what is?
Yeah, that's him on the street with Darius Slay.
That is that big play.
Big play. I always liked him. I always liked Big Play. And then Matt Patricia's like,
I'll tell you who didn't like him.
Why don't you get out of here? Diggs.
Matt Patricia.
I love Diggs, the safety they traded too. I really liked him.
You know, I like you too. Get out of here.
But I thought Patricia's got a plan. I know he does.
He's got a plan because he's a rocket scientist.
Yeah.
And so he must have a plan.
All right, let's get out of here. This has been fun.
Himself.
This has been fun. Oh, man, you should have wore that the whole time.
You think so?
Oh, can hear you crystal clear.
Crystal clear through the face mask.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. Paid $250 for this exact replica.
Yeah, it looks like it from the 1951.
Yeah, no, this is mid-90s, bro. Franklin.
Wow. Is that? Yep. Did you get that out of the JCPenney catalog?
Yeah, you know what?
Do you remember
My parents bought this for me when I was 8. Okay, and I never had the heart to get rid of it.
Oh, Drew. For a second, I'm like, Drew, and then he saved it. I'm like,
oh, thank goodness. Like, I was like, Drew, come on, man. Like, this is dope. I think I might wear this for the season opener.
Dude, yeah, you gotta wear that. That is.
Can you imagine if we go live and I'm just watching an entire game like this?
Yep. Dead serious. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Drew. Drew. All right, let's get out of here
Drew.
before we start.
You, brother. All right, let's get out of here before things get weird. Thanks, everybody.
Burst.
Got that burst.
See ya. Burst.
See ya.